Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Bases Loaded here. It's just Brandon and Chris here today. Blake decided to be a good family member and celebrate his nephew's birthday. So, Blake, happy birthday to your nephew.
He's watching
Hopefully,
the Astros game.
of
You know
course
he's
he
watching that
is.
game.
That is without a doubt what he's doing. But we'll get into that later. We got to talk about the Diamondbacks game 3. Oh my god. Oh my god. I was on pins and needles, and when that game ended, I swore my heart was on the floor. I'm like, what just happened? Because they were this close to losing that game.
What a game, man. It was a very good playoff game. Like you looked at it throughout. Like it was back and forth. Obviously giving up that run late, like this with the wild pitch, terrifying, but they came right back and scored. And then
So
to
the thing
walk it
with
off the way they
pitch,
did.
if Gabby throws a good ball to home, I think he gets some. But like, it has to be like right.
It was so close at that point. Yeah, but
Yeah, that sucks. But like, they had runners on first and second there in the top of the seventh, and then they get a ground ball. I'm like, all right, we're gonna get out of this. And then Ryan Thompson, his sweeper swept too much. It went too much, and Gabby couldn't get it. Gabby, by the way, rookie, Gold Glove finalist at catcher. Crazy to me. It's absolutely amazing. But no, this series, Philly fans have gone to the top of my shit list for any sport. Because dear God, are y'all annoying?
are you just figuring out Philly fan is Philly?
No. I knew Philly fans were obnoxious, like Philadelphia sports fans, like in general. But Philadelphia Philly fans have been nonstop obnoxious this entire series because they're like, "Oh, we're going to beat you in 4," because you're like, "You're not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
You
And
are
I mean,
supposed to be here. Act like don't act
yeah.
like this is a surprise. Stop playing this team of destiny, the underdog. Your payroll's $245 million. You are supposed to be here. Don't
Yeah.
try and play. It's like it's so like I'm like you're supposed to be here. Don't act like this is a surprise.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at it, and honestly, it makes me laugh because I mean, after 2 games, they probably had a damn good point because
They did.
Arizona just got punched in the face from the first pitch of game 1 in Philly, and I
So
mean,
if
there's
you take
something
games
about that city, yeah.
game 1 and the first half of game 2, I thought it was pretty. It was not as bad as it
No,
seemed.
they came back in game 1, but game 2, they just the wheels fell off, and it looked like they were just
Once they went to the bullpen, oh my god, it was a shitstorm. Like it was, I think it was 3-0. They take out Kelly. They get 4 in the sixth and 4 in the seventh, or 4 in the seventh and 4 in the eighth, and then yeah, they end up winning 10-0. First shutout in D-backs postseason history, so that was kind of a bummer. And it's weird to think about if I would have asked you before this series who would have the best start for the Diamondbacks, and I said Brandon Pfaadt, you would have said I'm crazy.
what a performance, especially looking at his regular season and going back to what he did
Dude,
against the Dodgers. Like, obviously, he didn't pitch as deep into that game, but dude, dude has been so great in the postseason for you
he
guys.
has. Like, I'm like, how was our best starting pitcher performance? Gallon goes on Saturday for game 5, or he's supposed to. That's when his normal rest is. They haven't announced game 5, but I have a feeling he will go game 5.
Yeah.
So, and he just always pitches better at home. Like, he doesn't pitch well in Philly, by the way. Like, one of his worst career starts was last year, and he got lit up for like 6 runs in like 2 innings.
Mhm.
The story of Zach Gallen and Mel Kelly is let me throw a 92-mile-per-hour fastball right down the middle to Kyle Schwarber, to Trey Turner, to Bryce Harper, to Nick Castellanos. Like that was the story of the first 2 games, is that D-backs were missing so bad and the Phillies were capitalizing, and Wheeler and Nola were literally pitching perfect. Like, they were literally perfect.
Oh yeah. two dominant performances from those Philly Aces. Like honestly, they looked amazing. But I mean, one thing is obviously you got punched in the mouth in game one after one pitch, and it looked bleak. But credit to the Diamondbacks, like they stayed in that
Yeah.
game. They got some runs late in the game and made it interesting, and actually looked like they had a chance at the end. So it's like, you love to see that from teams, especially in a championship series with the team being so young. Obviously, there are some veterans on the team that have been there before, like Longoria, Pham, all these guys. But it's a core nucleus of young guys. And the fact that they went into that hostile environment in Philly, because let's be real, there was no environment in LA. So this is the first time. I mean, there was one in Milwaukee, but that was the wild card, so it's a different beast. Like they're going into hostile territory, and they definitely held their own game one. Once again, game two, they struggled a lot, but to come back home and just battle like that, like I honestly, looking at this series, I did not expect to see a game that ended 2-1. I thought there would be runs galore, whether it was 5-3 or whatever it is, like more runs. And this was a very low scoring, very entertaining game to watch.
I was on pins
I
and
mean,
needles.
sorry, I was entertained. I know you had a different feeling, but I enjoyed it.
Because
Give me every game like that.
game 3 to me, it wasn't exactly 100% a must win, but I'm like, they win game 3, I feel so much better that we have a shot here and shows that we belong. Like everyone's, oh, you guys are lucky to be here. No, they're not. It's not like they barely beat Milwaukee and they barely beat the Dodgers. They dominated both of those series. It's not their fault that they had 86 wins. Like, I just, I
Well,
don't like the
it's
whole
something we've
not meant
talked
to
about.
be here. I'm like,
Yeah,
everyone that qualifies for the playoffs should be there as long as they have over 81 wins. If you're under 81 wins, I don't know if you really deserve the playoffs, but luckily we haven't had that in baseball in a while.
yeah, but I mean, the thing is exactly like it's a long season, and they played well enough throughout the season to earn that spot. So once you get to October, anything can happen. We've seen it happen in years before. We've seen that Nationals team a few years
Phillies
back.
did it
We
last
saw the
year.
Phillies last year, exactly. I mean, and the
They were the
Diamondbacks are
6th
just
seed last year.
you get hot at the right time, and it's like look out, like that's what it's really come down to. So I really really am excited to see what happens tomorrow, because I have a feeling this is a massive spark for them, especially being back at home tomorrow, where they're going to have the opportunity to do this again. And I mean, they've got 2 games. They can
And it's
turn
at a
this series around in a
reasonable
heartbeat.
time where people can go and it's not in the middle of the workday.
I did see. I do got to say, there was like $44 tickets on StubHub.
There was 47,000. Oh, that is the, I think, paid attendance there. Yeah, y'all, it's a Thursday at 2:00. And Philly fans, I don't care if you think, oh, we would sell out in Philly at that time. That's nice that y'all don't have to work for a living and you get handouts. That's not how it works out here. People have to work in the
We
middle
we
of the.
s- we sold out our Tuesday 1 o'clock game last year. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but you hosted the first two. I think had game 2 not been an absolute travesty, I don't think it
Oh
would have
no,
been.
that definitely impacted it for sure. I mean, it's like there's the defeatism, and it's like we've talked about it off the podcast, but like it's these games aren't cheap. So like if you want to go to one and you're actually gonna plan it, like you've got
I
to plan in
want to go
advance,
to
especially
game
for day
5,
games.
but it's kind of pricey for me, and I would
It's gonna be like
rather.
$40 by first pitch. What did I tell you? Stand outside the ballpark, go on StubHub,
Yeah, I
just
may
hit
have.
refresh. You're gonna find a cheap ticket. I promise you.
So I found cheap tickets. I don't like sitting in the upper section there. I just
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
Call me elitist or snotty. I really don't care. I
No,
wasn't a
I'm
fan of it.
just I'm totally just giving you a hard time. But because I sat up there for the home run derby in 2011, and I definitely needed some binoculars, even though I was watching
It,
home runs,
it's
because
just
it's
a
up,
little
it's up.
bit more steep than a lot of ball Petco. It's not so steep. Like I just feel
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if I lean over too far, I'm gonna fall over. So that's why
We don't need that.
prefer to not sit up there if I can. Now, I do have a couple of bets that if the D-backs win this series, I will have enough to go to a World Series game. So I'm hoping, to be honest, both of them I could technically cash out right now for a portion of it. But I'm like, it would feel so much better if I get the full one because it's all.
Don't give me the like how much money it is, but what's the percentage? Is it like 30%? Is it 25%?
Uh,
Like what are they letting you cash out at right now? Because I'd be interested,
so
especially after today's game.
before the game today, it was about 10%. And then after, it went up to about 15 to 17%.
Yeah, I'd
So
hold.
I would make the money back I put in, but I didn't put in that much, so I'm not losing a lot. So I'm like, I think I'm just gonna let it ride, and we'll see how it goes. But no, I think
Hey, if
today,
they win tomorrow, that percentage might go up a little bit. I don't know if it's gonna be enough
yeah.
to make that choice, but it might.
So tomorrow's actually a bullpen game for the Diamondbacks. They're going with Joe Mantiply for the opener. I
There's
don't know
nothing
if
that
the
upsets
Phillies,
me more than a bullpen game in a championship
because they
series, to
don't
be honest.
have a
I'm just like,
legit
I
four.
get it. It's just, oh
They don't have a legit fourth starter, and they're not going to bring Gallon on short rest, especially if we lose Game 4 and we need him for Game 5. I think
yeah,
if
but
we
he
would
could
have
dominate game 4 and it's a tie series. Like you can look at it either way.
yeah, they have said all postseason, Gallon will not come off short rest because he's such a
No, yeah,
meticulous guy that
yeah, no, and I get that.
he has his routine. So, but no, first of all, Ketel Marte has played in 12 postseason games in his career, had a hit in every single one of them. He had 3 hits today, including the walk-off, which was massive. Like, for a while, I was like, he's the only guy that's getting a hit. They finished with 9 hits. I'm like, wait, what? I was definitely surprised by that. I was just, after a while, I was like, just get the win. I don't care how you do it. Just get the win. I think that's going to give them the momentum that they need. And I don't know if you were listening to the broadcast, but they brought up several times Astros were in the exact same situation. They lost their first 2 games. It was at home, and the players saw that they won Game 3 and how much that gave them, like, that changed this series. Because right now, Houston's up 7-3 in the top of the 6 in Game 4. So if they can close it out, that series is going to be tied, and I think Houston has all the momentum.
Well, if they win this game, they're 8-1 in their last 9 at Globe Field. Like that's just
They have one more
wild.
game
It's
there
like
too.
Houston somehow hates their own fans, and that's why they can't win at home and only on the road.
Yeah, like, it's so weird. And then if they win tomorrow, I wonder if they go Verlander tomorrow. If they win
Yeah,
today,
no, they've already announced it's going to be Verlander against Montgomery tomorrow, so it's already set in stone.
okay. So yeah, let's go ahead and transition over to the ALCS. Rangers took the first 2 games, because they were clicking on all cylinders early in both games.
Yeah, well, game 1 was a lot more competitive. Game 2 like started out interesting, and I mean, we'll get to game 2 in a second, but like Verlander didn't pitch bad, and Montgomery had a great outing, so it was a low scoring battle that just the Houston bats just couldn't seem to get up for it, and it's very shocking to see that happen, especially in the postseason. But for them to get no runs and 5 hits in a championship series game, it's pretty wild to see, honestly.
Houston could have won game 2 if they decided to get guys on when they hit those homers. They kept hitting solos. By the way, I'm just gonna say this: Jordan is a absolute
Just don't pitch to
insane.
him. Just don't pitch to him.
Just don't, like, I said that about Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper's cooled off a little bit. He has one big hit because it was right down the fucking middle of the plate. So of course he's gonna demolish it. Jordan, You want to know what his strike zone is? The entire fucking plate.
Well, I mean, let's talk about this game. I mean, obviously it's happening right now, so it's kind of weird talking about it. But when the bases were loaded and he came up, he missed that grand slam by what? Like 5 feet, maybe? Like
Next batter,
he
though, Jose
he
Abreu.
almost
Yeah,
yeah,
like
and Abreu got it done, but like that's what Jordan does. He makes contacts. In last night's game, there was that one where he just came in and the contact he made on that ball, just for him to be able to get to that for a bloop single to score a run, like
2 runs,
he's
actually.
just such he's such an incredible hitter. Like it is so much fun to watch him. Like it's someone that I don't really get to watch game in and game out because it's like obviously I'll keep tabs on the Astros because of Blake, but I'm not going to watch every game. I just don't have the time, so I don't get to see them as much. So when I do, and I get to see a player like this, it just makes me appreciate him more to see how great he is at the plate, especially in October.
By the way, he has the highest OPS in MLB playoff history.
I mean, not shocking.
No.
He's Barry Bonds in October. Like,
Yeah, there's just some dudes. The calendar turns to October, and they just take it up a notch. Zach Wheeler is a prime example of that as well. Zach Wheeler in the playoffs
Yeah.
last year and this year, you're just like, you're unhittable. And then Jordan, like, you can't. The only way you get him out, you put up that 4. You just let him go. Like, and that at bat that he had there when they had the bases loaded, it was like an 8-9 pitch at bat.
Yeah, it was
battled.
fantastic. He fouled a bunch off. He battled tough. Like he's a really fun player to watch at the plate because you can tell he can see the ball, which is just it just still blows my mind. Just amazing.
I think he missed like 40, 50 games and he still finished with 30 plus home runs.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, if he can play a full season, he can put up some insane numbers, and I think Blake's mentioned it before, but he's definitely like a year in and year out MVP candidate right now at his peak the way he's playing.
Yeah, and like he's not a terrible left fielder though. Like I mean, it helps when you play in front of the Crawford boxes, basically.
Yeah.
You don't even have to worry about going to your right. It's just you just go to your left. And then you don't have to cover as deep. So, but no, Blake wanted us to bring this up. Game 3, Max Scherzer started, and everyone talks about how bad Clayton Kershaw is. And since 2021, he's 0-3 with a 5.68 ERA.
It's crazy. Well, hasn't he given up like multiple runs in short outings, like his last couple postseason outings?
Yeah, like
it's something like that. Because I remember the Padres got to him when he was in New York, when he was a Met last year, and I remember the struggles before that because he decided to be a Dodger, and that just took over his innards when it came to the playoffs. Maybe that's where it all started.
Yeah, and I believe that does not include when he was with the Nats, which I think he was better when he was with the Nats, probably because he has an actual manager, which is not Dave Roberts. I still don't know how that man has a job.
You saw he's coming back, right?
I don't understand it. Everyone's like, it's not his fault. Yes, it is. He's the manager. How do you not?
I mean, we talked about it a lot. There was a couple times you could tell he had an early trigger and he was pulling guys, and I'm just like,
over manages in the postseason. That's what he does.
Just do what you did in the regular season. Like your guys, you have enough talent on that team. Obviously, you win 100 games year in and year out. Like, just let them play. Like
anyone can manage that stacked roster to 90 plus wins in a regular season. Like, it's not difficult when they give you so many toys to play with, especially when you have like probably 2 of the top 10 best players in MLB and Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts. So definitely
not in the playoffs. One hit combined.
Yes, what was it like?
We can go back to that.
1 for 21, 1 for me and you could go hours just trashing the Dodgers.
It's okay.
But no, Astros. Like, I know Blake said that he wasn't worried, but I was like, those first 2 games, Rangers looked really, really good. Like, Rangers hadn't lost until yesterday in the postseason. Like they had been dominant all postseason, but they had only
It's
had one playoff game, and then so far they're about to be 1-2 at home in the postseason. So it's weird. Literally the opposite of the Astros.
well, it just makes me laugh because at this point we're looking at a series where the first team to win at home is gonna take the advantage in a series, and where it's
Yeah.
like, how? Like, how can neither of these teams play well at home? It's funny, man. It's going to be a very interesting series. I think tomorrow is going to be a fascinating game, especially because Montgomery's looks so great. Like Verlander is Verlander in the playoffs, so I'm very excited to see what happens in that, especially with the series potentially tied at 2-2. Like this is going to be a game shifting, like a series shifting game, obviously.
Also, Major League Baseball, stop putting games at 2 o'clock in the afternoon in the middle of the week. Just
It's tough.
stop.
It's tough.
Like, you wonder why either people don't go or people don't watch because they're at work. Like, I am fine with a 2 p.m. first pitch on a Saturday or a Sunday, but it makes no sense on a Thursday. And I
It's
know,
just
and
it's
the
it's
reason they do
really
it, they don't want the games to compete with. You have multiple stations you can air them on. It's not going to be an issue.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to put games on at the same time. And I hear you and I understand the argument because yeah, it sucks when you like for instance, like you can't go to a game because it's in the middle of the day and there's no physical way it can happen. But the other option is putting these games on at 6 o'clock, like maybe having a Pacific time, having like a 5 o'clock Pacific time start, but then you have like a 7 o'clock Pacific time, and that's 10 o'clock on the East Coast. So it's just it sucks. I wish there was some way they could find some delicate balance. I don't think you need to start the games at the same time, but maybe stagger the starts where it's like maybe an hour, hour and a half difference. So people can click over to the end of one game and then watch the other game to completion. But I mean, it's just I don't think you can put them on at the same time, especially when you care about ratings if you're baseball, which it sucks.
They don't care about ratings. It's been so bad. They haven't made any sort of changes at all in so long. So, no, they really don't care. We had some other news come out yesterday. We had our Gold Glove finalists, and all three of our teams have multiple people on there.
My
Uh,
sweet Prince Hassan Kim nominated for two.
but wait, can he win both, or is it just
I don't know
one?
because he's nominated at utility and second
Second
base.
base.
Like
So yeah, I'm very curious. So yeah, you had two, right? You had Kim and
Tatis.
Tatis.
Yeah.
Diamondbacks had three with Alex Thomas, Christian Walker, and Gabriel Moreno. Astros had one or two. No, two, because they had Dubon
Yeah.
and Alex Bregman.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the pod is definitely very much represented there for Gold Glove finalists. Christian Walker has to win it. If you've seen anything Christian Walker has done, like if you just want to go just based on defensive runs saved, he's miles ahead of anyone else.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I think is truly amazing when you look at it, because you just look at what's happened year in and year out, Nolan Arenado and Manny Machado are not nominated for a Gold Glove at third base, which is just crazy thinking of the last couple of years.
First time in I think 10 years that Nolan Arenado is not a Gold Glove finalist at third base. I don't think he had a good year. Like I don't
No, he had a
remember.
god awful year. He made one play that was like an out that they were like, "Oh, it was an amazing throw," and I'm like, "Bro, get off him. He doesn't deserve the last two."
Yeah, so I'm hoping that this is the start of, because yeah, he's been good, but I just think that there's other guys that do well. Just but unfortunately Manny was out for a while and he didn't really play that great defensively this year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So sucks there for Manny, but everyone was saying Tatis is not going to do good because he had a bad first week in right field. And literally, I think he led all outfielders in assists.
It's insane. And he's going to take on a new position next year when he plays center field. So
That is true. That is true because they got to get rid of they got to get rid of Grisham. Grisham should not be start. Like I understand he's a good defensive, but he can't hit for shit. Like he was always hovering around
What
200
you just
always.
said was very disrespectful to shit.
Disrespectful to shit.
Yeah, because he is not good.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that the deep like I feel like they're gonna get one for Christian Walker, but I want Alex Thomas to get one because I think he made the play of the year. A game that I was at,
Oh yeah. I remember we watched it and talked about it. Yes.
like that is like the only way you get that is if you take the right route immediately. Doesn't matter if you're faster. I don't know if you get it because a lot of guys who are faster don't necessarily take the right route. And I think that's why Tatis is able to make so many great plays is he may not read the ball and take the right route, but his speed, he's able to make up for it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you look at he's going against Michael Harris second, and I mean that's probably his biggest threat. Like Brendan Doyle from the Rockies, probably not going to win it, but Harris, a great player that had a great year. Like I know the postseason is not included with it, but I always feel like there might be a little bit of a sprinkle of love one way or the other when it comes to those. Because yeah, I mean Michael Harris is gone and didn't really do much in the postseason. So
Also, the left field picks is a joke. How does a platoon player become a Gold Glove finalist in David Peralta?
yeah, I'm looking at that, and that's got to be
I
Haps, right?
know he isn't pretty when he plays left field, but Lourdes didn't have an error. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
Lourdes Gurriel Jr. did not have an error, but it's not pretty when he gets the balls. You're like, you're not supposed to get that, but
Yeah.
it's kind of a bummer. He has since the All-Star break, he's been so up and down. It's so frustrating. I'm like, you were on fire the first month of the year. That's why you got a All-Star selection. But man, you'll like disappear for weeks. It's so frustrating.
Well, it's funny because we were talking about Kim being nominated for 2. Mookie Betts is nominated for 2 as well.
Oh, is he also nominated for utility?
Utility and then right field. So
Yeah, I don't like seeing those lists of like best players. They put Mookie at second. He's no. I'm sorry. You have to play all your games there. Mookie.
yeah.
They only do that because they don't have any other options.
Well, yeah, that was necessity. That wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna go do that. Like that was everybody else in the infield got hurt this year, so we need help.
Like they even had him at shortstop for a handful of games too.
Yeah.
So it's just it is what it is. But so yeah, we have a series that actually they're both at 2-1, and we might have it at 2-2 here in a matter of moments here for the Astros. By the time you see all next week, we will know what our World Series matchup is. World Series Game 1 is next Friday. 8 days. We may have a double pod matchup. We may have a 0. We might have one of each. Who knows? I would love oh my God, if we had a double pot. I will be so annoying to Philly fans if the D-backs take this series after what they've been talking nonstop since before game 1 and after game 2. So I'm like, do I be the adult here and not say anything, or do I just go trolling hard, just find all these tweets and comments about?
Well, see, I'm looking forward to you buying me and Blake's World Series ticket so we can all go to a game together when the Diamondbacks make the World Series with all your winnings. That's all I got.
I don't. It's not that much. It's not that much. It's enough probably for me to go.
I know.
And it might be if you can drive out, I might be able to. But I'm not playing. I'm not Blake, I love you, man. I ain't paying for your ticket. I am not
I
paying.
honestly like. I wish I had the money because I would thoroughly enjoy sitting next to both of you at a game in the World Series. Because God, that would be just great. I would just sit there and just watch. I wouldn't even watch the game. I'd just
Oh
watch you
my
two.
I would be like this the entire time. I would just be like, "Oh my god, every pitch means something." So,
Yes.
so yeah, I'm I'm just glad that they won, because that was my biggest worry after the first two games is that this would be a 4-game sweep. But I'm like, let us have a game at home, and we saw what happened. A win's a win. You don't get more points if you do it by a lot or a little. If it's pretty or ugly, a win is a win. So happy D-backs took game 3. I feel really good about game 4. Game 5, I don't know because I think it's going to be Gallon versus Wheeler again, and Wheeler has been almost not human when he pitches in the playoffs.
Yeah, he has been on an incredible run, so it's gonna be a tough battle, that is for sure.
So, everyone, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You can see all of our socials in the description box below. We will see y'all next time.